From Washington, this is VOA News. I'm David DeForest reporting. The Joint Monitoring Commission on Iran's nuclear program met for the first time. The commission is tasked with monitoring how both sides of the recent nuclear accord with Iran implement their parts of the agreement. Iran's nuclear negotiator, Abbas Araghchi, said he hopes the next milestone, implementation of the pact, will take place by December 31st.
We expect a couple of weeks, perhaps, or some weeks to take place, but hopefully before the end of this year, certainly we would have the implementation day.
Monday's session brought high-ranking officials from Iran and the group that includes the United States, Britain, China, France, Russia, Germany, and the European Union to Vienna for discussions. An Eritrean migrant has died after being shot by Israeli police, who mistook him for a suspect in a deadly bus station attack. Amateur video from the scene shows a mob beating the wounded man as he lay on the floor of the Beersheba bus terminal in southern Israel. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu warned against vigilantism on Monday, saying no one must take the law into their own hands. Eritrea's Minister of Information condemned the shooting. Officials say at least 14 people were killed and 20 wounded Monday in central Somalia when rival clan militias battled in the streets of Beledweyne. Witnesses say the violence followed a dispute over tax collection. Most of the wounded are said to be civilians caught in crossfire. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry says he will meet later this week with the leaders from Russia, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, and Jordan to discuss options for restarting the process of bringing a political resolution to the Syrian crisis. This is VOA News. A top United Nations official says the Yemeni government has agreed to meet at the end of the month in Geneva for talks with Houthi rebels. The talks are aimed at implementing a UN resolution that would end months of fighting. Special UN envoy Ismail Ould Sheikh Ahmed, writing on Facebook, said agreement on the meeting was reached after talks with exiled Yemeni President Abd Rabbu Mansur Hadi. A UN spokesman later confirmed the talks. The Philippine Army, police, and volunteers are rushing to assist hundreds of villagers trapped by floodwaters caused by Typhoon Kopu. The storm is blamed for at least 11 deaths. Simone Orendine takes a look.
Nearly 2 days after Typhoon Kopu arrived with 150-kilometer winds and heavy rain, Civil Defense Chief Alexander Pama continues to push residents to take shelter on safe ground. Kopu's storm cloud is 600 kilometers wide. It has left roof-high flooding in some towns along the overflowing Pampanga River in Nueva Ecija province in central Luzon. In other areas, rice fields have been completely submerged. Residents of mountain towns clung to rescue workers' lifelines to navigate the fast-flowing brown, chest-deep waters. Simone Orendine, Manila.
NATO has launched its largest military exercise in more than a decade. The Western Military Alliance has 36,000 troops from more than 30 NATO member nations and partners will undergo intensive training across Italy, Spain, and Portugal. The exercises come amid growing concern about Russian military moves and growing instability in the Middle East. Croatia opened its border with Serbia late Monday afternoon, allowing about 3,000 migrants to enter. A spokeswoman with the UN Refugee Agency said that the doors suddenly opened and people rushed through. It was not immediately clear why Croatia suddenly permitted the mass entry. Egyptian Prime Minister Sharif Ismail says turnout in Sunday's first day of voting was between 15 and 16%. Monday saw a second day of first-round voting in 14 provinces. but turnout was again said to be light, even though the government officials predicted it would be higher than Sunday. Government workers were given time off to allow them to go to the polls. Voting in Egypt's other 13 provinces, including Cairo, will take place next month in a second round. Final results are not expected until December. Canadians went to the polls Monday to vote for members of parliament. Observers say there is a strong desire for political change, as polls show Prime Minister Stephen Harper's Conservative Party government could be ousted or forced into minority rule. Opinion polls released Sunday show Justin Trudeau's Liberal Party leading Harper's Conservatives. In Washington, I'm Dave DeForest.
That's the latest world news from VOA.